Thank you so very much. And now we will turn to Mr. Clark Kooning, MMR, for the after show. Clark, welcome.
Well, hi, kids. How's everybody doing tonight? That was a interesting show tonight. Lots of computer talk. Big storm up here tonight. So if I all of a sudden am not here, maybe the lightning got me. So just hang on. It's pretty warm up here in beautiful downtown Elliott Lake. It's about, I don't know, close to 90 at points today. But now we're expecting this big thunderstorm. So let's see. I saw Ted on here and I have to ask him because I haven't talked to him for a while. Ted, what's for dinner? Unless he's already gone. Ah, the bum.
Let me mention one thing. Let me mention one thing before I get off of this and go to bed. This is Clark's last night for a while. Poor Clark has to devote his time now to trying to kill the fish out there. So we're going to miss him doing the after shows for a while. But we need a replacement for Clark. So if anybody is interested, whether you're as funny as Clark or not really doesn't make any difference. But if you would like to do it and work with us and become a member of our team, please let me know. My email is on the chat. Ken put it up there. So if you're interested at all in handling the after show now that Clark is going to go fishing for a while, please let me know. Thank you so much. And Clark, thank you for doing this. And I wish you the best on the lake.
Thanks. Me too. If it's not thundering and lightning like it is tonight.
Hey, Jim.
But thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing you missed was during the ON30 narrow gauge meet that Al Judy had last week in Harrisburg. I'd say there was about 30 Nutrax people there. It was just loaded with Nutrax people.
That's true.
It's funny. It was like a lot of people that I know, but I've never met. It's pretty significant. Which, by the way, Clark, where were you?
I was at home. I was at home.
We just had the Canadian contingent come down, and it seemed like there was only a few that were missing. So
yeah. Well, don't forget, I'm 8.5 hours before to get to them. Never mind to get down to Pennsylvania.
Ouch.
Well, you missed a good one, Clark. It was a great show.
Yeah, I hear.
I heard there was over 400 people that attended that show.
They had 400, but they had 114 tables.
Yeah.
And
and compared to some of the shows around, I heard that was just above our expectations, that everybody was happy. And, that's wonderful. Congratulations.
and Ultimations, he sold out everything he brought down, and he was taking orders. We had Mount Albert Scale Lumber. We had a representative for Fast Tracks at the table. These are all our Canadian guys in our group. Another fellow, Mr. Perry, he has a beautiful display of hand-built locomotives that he's collected from around the world, from those that built them, and they're extremely rare. And he's traced them down, and now they're coming to him. It took him years to find people. Now he's known out there, so he was there, and it was a really good time.
Well, I'll tell you, I know there were a lot of ON30 people there. And if you have not seen it, I would encourage you to go to our YouTube channel for June the 2nd and see the Alan Littlefield interview that we did with Alan about his life in modeling and what he's achieved and the things that he's involved in, and most importantly, the kind of models that he makes. It's a fascinating interview, I think, and if you haven't seen it, you really ought to.
Yeah, he was there too.
Yep, Alan had his display, and he had all these chairs in front. People were sitting down. I spent quite a bit of time with Alan and bumping into him through the show.
Yeah.
So it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a great show. It was good meeting everybody. And it's funny because I didn't know who Alan Littlefield was, but I met him anyway. It was like, okay, cool. This is awesome. So.
Well,
but
you hear about him and you hear people talk about the models that he makes, that he scratch bills and kit bashes and so forth. But it's something else to be able to sit down and actually talk to him.
yeah, it's pretty fascinating. I bought the last Ultimation slicer that they had at the show.
What took you so long?
What took me so long? Time and
We couldn't get
opportunity.
it unbolted from the table.
That's right.
No, to be fair, it wasn't just ON30. It was an awful lot of ON3. And so, and in some O standard, but it wasn't so much an O standard show, but a few pieces were there.
What did you buy, Larry?
Too much, but I'm happy. I just had to order Chris's kit tonight because I stood around the show. I photographed the Kello station, so I ordered one. But I didn't buy it at the show because I was already past my limit for coming across the border. So
Oh, okay.
I think we could have worked around that one.
Larry, what scale do you model?
primarily ON3. I'm outside here in my backyard because it's such a gorgeous night. It was hot here and we had thunderstorms today, but it's cooled off. There's a beautiful breeze. So I'm just enjoying my waterfalls is behind me, which is part of my outdoor layout.
Yeah.
It's about a 5 foot high. The highest height on it is 5 feet and it's got a tunnel. So I'm just laying the track again in that area because I rebuilt that during shutdown when I couldn't go anywhere the last 2 summers. So about 8 tons of rock taken down, replaced, rebuilt the pond. So I'm having fun out here.
Why don't you do me a favor and send me an email? I'd like to talk to you offline.
Okay.
I really would. I'm serious.
I know. I don't share pictures. Like I can send them there and put them up.
Yeah, I'm really interested in, because I can see part of your thing behind you right now. But ON3 modelers,
ON3 down in the basement. Yes.
I'm having trouble finding ON3 model. That's what I'd like to talk to you about.
I see. Well, there was lots there at the show.
Yeah.
We got
So anyway, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Larry. I'm sorry, Clark. I'll turn it back over to you.
no. I was gonna say, like, that our whole group is basically ON3 modeling. We got 20 guys. So I don't know why it's hard to find them. Anyway,
It's kind of like, it's trying to like finding an S-scale modeler. You know, S-scale seems to be secret. I mean, that's what it seems to stand for. It's hard for me to find an S-scale modeler.
Yeah.
And lately I can find all kind of ON30 modelers. I mean, they seem to be all over the place, but an ON3 modeler, no, I don't hear from those.
no, there's lots of guys around, and the S-scale modelers. I know a number of S-scale modelers here in Ontario that are fantastic modelers. So I'll have to talk to them and get you in contact with them.
They don't come to our shows. I don't have a way to contact them.
I know an S-scale modeler or
And you know, I've talked about this with you how many times?
Yeah.
And you can, and Jamie keeps telling me, oh yeah, I know these guys. I'm on their Facebook page. I'm blah, blah, blah. And I'll talk to him about, have I heard from him? No.
well, I didn't tell you I'd talk to anybody on Facebook because I don't do Facebook.
Okay.
I'll
That's
post
why I
something,
haven't
Jim.
heard-
Either Philip or I'll post something in the S-scale groups. No problem. There's a bunch of
That's
us,
good.
a lot more than you'd imagine.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm on the narrow
but-
gauge
but I'm-
side, so
Yeah, and I
Well, now you're talking SN3. Now that's a real scale. And gauge.
amen to that.
And
Preach on.
gauge.
yeah, look, I got one of these too.
Yeah.
Great. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's nice.
You still got all your fingers?
Yeah, it took me. I had it almost 24 hours before I cut myself with it.
Nice.
Does it always point north?
Yeah,
That's how
But
you
if you
tell
put it in
time.
the
you know?
sun, you know what time it is. It's 1 o'clock.
there you go.
Great minds, Clark.
Yeah,
You can judge it by half a degree.
that's right. But But yeah, no, I don't know how many guys are in SN3, but I mean, I was heavily involved in SN3. I've kind of moved out of it now since I had to change layouts and space, but yeah.
It's big. They got the SN3 symposium.
Oh, yeah.
conventions.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the SN3 symposium is going to be in Phoenix, I believe, next year.
Yep.
Which might just work for me depending on timing.
Are you going to switch scales again?
No, I mean, I still have
Yeah.
a ton of SN3 stuff.
You know, I had my ON2 at the show. There was quite a bit of ON2 because it was kind of Eastern orientated. There were Colorado engines in ON3 for sale.
Right.
The layouts and the park. I fell in love with Pennsylvania again, and I'm going to do more research on the narrow gauge in Pennsylvania. But we went to the logging museum, the lumber museum, and then the East Broad Top. We had a fantastic tour. It's supposed to be a 1-hour tour, what we paid for, but it stretched out to 2 hours. The guy just kept giving us more and more information, so it was fantastic.
Yeah, well, the EBT is just, it sounds like those guys have just gone absolutely fantastic, gung ho. So
We're hoping to open up the tunnels and go right to Robertsdale. That'll be something.
Are they running now?
I was on the train, but they're using a little diesel, but I got a caboose ride. And number 16 is about ready. Will be ready, I think, in about a month and a half or so. 15 is sitting beside her. It needs some work to go back. And its sister, 14, was in the shops, which is all run by Overhead Belts. And they had her work over the pit where they she needs driver work. So they're taking the drivers out of her. And they're going to turn them on the original machines that run with the overhead belt system.
Huh.
It's
I wonder how accurate they're going to be because they're so old, you know, the bearings are probably all shot and the whole bit.
well, that'll be when you're dropping the wheels out and stuff, you can address all those issues. So that may have priority over 15. Number 12 is in the roundhouse and that, and so it's really coming, but just the expansion on the line too. And
Yeah, the last time I was,
yeah, go ahead, Pat.
I was going to go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say we were there a long time ago, and I think it was just before they were shutting down. But I did get a peek in the engine house and didn't get a ride though, but we could see all the stuff. It was really neat. Thanks, Larry.
we got a tour also. Usually the shop tour is just the old shops. And
Yeah.
this time it included the engine house. So we were in the engine house for quite a period of time. I got great shots of it. And,
Nice.
they had the overhead belt system all running. They had to run on compressed air because the two boilers are kaput. But they're talking about possibly building another building away from the structures, just for any kind of safety, and having a new boiler eventually. But they ran it on compressed air, and they said all they had to do was go up and oil the bearings and all the sleeves and tighten the belts, and they just fired it up and it all ran. So
Amazing.
it is. It's
Piyush, I may have missed you talking about this, but a lot of people hate the smartphone apps to run locomotives. Is there any thought of making a hardware-based controller?
Yeah, absolutely. We can actually we can have a hardware controller. I mean, it's just the commands that you send from it. So it's just that we find software-based controller is very flexible and versatile. I mean, it's all software-based, and today's smartphones, I mean, it may not have like a knob on it, but really it has all the tactile feedback and controls. I mean, once you use our app, I mean, don't compare our app to like an engine driver or something else that you have used for DCC before. Once you use our app, you will see the difference. I mean, you will just not feel like really going for a handheld throttle, really. But if you really do want, we can we do have it as like as part of our one of our future plans to have a handheld controller. I'm not really gonna disclose everything like about the design of it, but I do have some ideas where we will kind of have a combination of like a screen and a handheld throttle, so that the screen can be used to configure a lot of things. You can check the speeds on the. So we really like the GUI, the rich graphical user interface, rather than just some text-based, just numbers or cryptic kind of things. So we'll have something eventually, definitely.
Yeah, I have one of those ESU mobile controllers that have the screen, but it also has 4 buttons on the side that you can configure for either speed or direction, and it has the knob. Those things are really good.
Yeah, so the ESU thing, as far as I know, I haven't really seen it, but as far as I know, it is actually based off of an Android device.
Yes.
It is actually based off of Android device. And personally, it's my personal choice. I just do not like the idea of a knob running a train, really. I mean, knobs is not how you run trains. So, I mean, if somebody said, proto throttle, something like that, I really like that. But then we've had like some preliminary talks. They they will obviously not adapt to like our protocol or our commands, but they have an open hardware design, and which is something really great about them. And we can easily adapt to that design and just have Locofy commands go from proto throttle to any engine. It should be not that hard, really.
Yeah, for somebody technically knowledgeable, it's not that hard.
It's really simple, really. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I do not. I mean, we are short on resources for doing like everything at the same time, so we are taking it step by step. But we will eventually get there. That's the plan. Yeah.
Ken, if you're interested, the Model Railroad Hobbyist Forum has a design for a throttle using an ESP32. Jeff Bunza published, and it uses basically that and a screen, and you don't need the screen except to configure and select locomotives. The rest of it can have notching, braking, lights, all kinds of things that you can imagine, right? It could be very configurable.
Right, Neil, I have actually even seen your, I think you also have published some kind of hardware design for like steam locomotives, and I've seen those and I really like that. We'll, just to give you a hint, we'll try to get something like that on the smartphone, at least for now.
Very nice. Phil Taylor too is working on that with me.
Okay.
Neil, where did you say I could read about that?
It's the Model Railroad Hobbyist Forum, MRH, right?
And then look under what?
A simple Wi-Fi throttle that you can build, right?
Well, maybe you could build.
Well, it's just soldering. It really isn't that hard. All the components are very straightforward to use, and I use the plugins that you might use for a breadboard rather than trying to solder to that ESP32. I just put it into a breadboard and then put the whole thing into a box. Pretty simple. But I mean, at some point, hopefully we can produce these in a way that you could purchase either the components or we can help you out, because I really think it's fantastic. And we want to promote this idea that running a locomotive like a locomotive is a lot of fun. I don't want to see the speed, right? I want to be able to notch or use my Johnson bar for a steam locomotive. My throttle is a throttle, but they're different for diesel locomotives, and I honestly don't know anything about them except for my S-scale stuff, and I just bought those because they're cool. I'll post a link.
Okay, good, thanks. That's all for me. Anybody else?
Sorry, you guys, I was busy on a phone call, so talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back in a minute.
I've never stuck around for the after show, so I'm always curious what happens. So is this it? We all just talk story?
Just see us.
This sounds like
Yeah,
another call you
exactly.
and I are on, Neil.
Well, I am at work and I gotta be quiet. Use my indoor voice here, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So despite my background, I'm actually in a little cubicle.
Well, it sounds like it's time to start saying bye to YouTube. Is somebody here
Think
that
so.
can control it?
I don't know.